All right, so I've been making these comics and I've been putting them up on Facebook, and they're single panel comics, and I use generative AI to make them. And they've been doing like really well. Like my best ones had like 500,000 views. A lot of them get 250,000 views. They get seen by a lot of people, and they get a lot of reactions and a lot of shares, and all the things that you want from a post. And with that comes criticism, and the main criticism, of course, is that it's AI slop, that it's uninventive, that I'm using up water, as if they're not using up water by using Facebook, because it's data centers that use up water. But anyway, I decided that I wanted to make a comic that addresses the similarities to how people react to technologies in history. In this case, I'm using the camera and how people thought that the camera couldn't be used to produce art. And at the same time, I want to demonstrate my process of how I use AI and how AI, generative AI, can be used also to create art. So I've basically taken a 2-hour and 10-minute process, which is actually one of my quicker ones. Sometimes it takes me many attempts to get what I want, but 2 hours and 10 minutes, and I've compacted it down to 15 minutes. I don't expect that anybody who yells at me and tells me it's AI slop is going to care or like even watch this, because I don't think they're interested. I think they've decided that AI is bad, and that's that. But just in case, there's some people that are on the fence and maybe want to see for themselves that not all AI generated work is slop. Some of it there's thought and time put into. And as you'll see in this video, that is the case here. We're going to make a comic. I've had this thought. My first thought was not as good as my second thought. Let's read what this says. So I'm asking about the camera. The camera's contentious entry into the art world. From its inception, the camera's role as a tool for artistic expression was hotly debated. Its journey to acceptance was fraught with resistance from the art establishment, critics, and even some photographers themselves. Naysayers questioned its legitimacy, arguing that a machine could never replicate the soul and creativity inherent in traditional art forms. Interesting, no? Sounds kind of familiar. Initially, photography was largely perceived as a scientific curiosity. Let's see, the naysayers: a soulless machine, mere imitation of reality, a threat to traditional art. The ease of the craft, the skill and years of training required to master painting, sculpture, were contrasted with the seemingly simple act of pointing a camera and pressing a button. Interesting. God, this sounds so familiar. All right, so my idea for a comic, first of all, I started with a caveman in a tunic, but we're not going to go with that. We're going to go with, let's see, who do I want on the left? I want the painter on the left. And let's make the painter female, or make the painter male. Let's see, a male painter and a female photographer. You just point and shoot. That's not art. All right, so we start with a single comic 1:1 ratio, no frame around it, 2048 pixels by 2048 pixels, 300 dpi. It never does this, but I put it anyway. This is a common prompt that I use in the beginning because it gives the AI some direction as to the style that I want, and it keeps the style somewhat consistent between the different comics. And since I don't have a drawing style, I want the drawing style that the AI puts out to be somewhat consistent. Contemporary digital comic style with clean vector lock line work, bold and detailed and bright, vibrant coloring, no vintage halftones or aged texture, crisp and modern. Speech balloons in classic comic lettering, all caps, black text on white, dialogue balloons, position top of panel. All right, let's read our scene now. A male painter and a female photographer stand before. Let's go with that for now. See what it spits out. All right, so just to explain what's happening here, I've switched over to OpenAI, DALL-E, since Gemini is taking forever, and I wanted to get another perspective anyway. And these are the images that DALL-E spit out. Oh my God. The brush, the brush she's painting on the thing. The camera's faced the wrong way. But this is interesting because this is really kind of interesting. So she should take a picture of him. All right, that's interesting. Okay. I don't know what's going on with this. This thing's tripping. All right, so Gemini got hung up. So I made a new chat window and it's processing right now. And I'm just looking at these DALL-E images again. And now we're going to go back to Gemini and this is what it spit out. Let's see, this is kind of errors you get, but this is easy to fix. In fact, I almost always redo these bubbles. I don't know why I put the extra girl in there. I really only want 2 characters. All right, let's try this again here. Let's change this prompt. Oh, that's why I confused it, because I mixed up gender. His left hand and a paintbrush in his right hand. All right, let's see how that works. Let's do it in here too. All right, so while DALL-E's processing, this is what Gemini spit out on the second prompt that I've made and adjusted. Still some things wrong with this, obviously. So I'm going to have to adjust my prompt again. Here I'm trying to run the prompt again, but it's just going to spit out the same thing. So back to DALL-E. Fucking DALL-E, man. It just does not give me any love. I can't use any of that. All right. Okay, so I need to refresh. It gave me the same thing back again. So we'll try something. We'll just go to a new chat. No, I just completely ignored what I said. I don't even understand that. Oh, because I didn't give it the instruction. If you don't give it the prompt, it's not. It's just gonna come up with something on its own. That's what everybody thinks I do. Um, so I constantly change what they're saying. It spits something out. I see it. Like that first one. Like this one gave me the idea to point it at him, which is better. I think it's better that she points it at him. Okay. That's not what I told it to say. Yeah, it is. All right, we're getting closer. But I want him mad. So let's try this again. Okay, so I rewrote the prompt once again. Just made some adjustments. He's angry now. I don't like the fact that both of them are in her shot when she's behind the camera. But I feel like my prompt is good, so I don't want to rework it again. I'm going to open a new chat. I'm going to give it to Gemini again and run it one more time. And then this is what it spit out. That's kind of funny. I should put this here, the shot. All right, let's just try this. This might be okay. Okay, now with my initial image, I'm going to put this in Photoshop. Speed this way up. First, I'm going to get this hand because I want to put that hand in her shot since the camera seems to be pointing at that. And it's kind of funny that she views that as the shot, right? Now I'm trying to remove this bubble, but it's not working the way it has in the past. And then I made a copy of it, and so this is just not working out what I'm trying. And it's partly because it's new to me, and partly because I just have troublesome skills in Photoshop. Give me a DAW and we're okay. Photoshop. Ugh. Okay, so now I'm making the bubble. And now I've kind of decided I'm going to change the dialogue that I originally had planned. And I wasn't even going to give the girl a bubble. And I decided, yeah, I kind of want her to say something. So as you could see, I'm working out. Now I'm making the bubble the size of the words, which I'll constantly readjust. I joined the bubble with the pointer and then put a stroke around it, so it's got a black line around it. But the process is such that I try and get the comic the way I want it, the image the way I want it, and then I may adjust what I thought my dialogue would be based on the image. And in this case, I felt that she could say something kind of funny and would punch up the humor. Now I'm going in and I'm putting in the part from Gemini where it talked about the camera and the reaction to the camera and photography not being art. I'm going to put that as my caption to kind of make the point that, technology is often met with resistance. So I think it's pretty clear that this is human-made art. This is my art, my commentary, and I used AI as a tool to help me accomplish it. But the idea that, like the camera, AI is a machine and that there's no way to leverage it as a tool is absurd. And I understand that people are afraid, and I understand that AI is a different beast because of how quickly it's coming on. And, there's a lot of unknowns there. So I get it. But to designate anything that anybody does with AI as AI slop, as if there's no skill or no involvement or no human creativity involved, is kind of absurd. And I hope that this video has demonstrated that. All right, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my other videos on YouTube. Follow my Mixerman page on Facebook, which is where I put these comics. And check out my newest book, Mixerman's Ultimate Guide to Producing Records, Music, and Songs. Everything you need to know about producing, recording, mixing, and mastering music at home or in the studio. Listen, the book got a rave review from Larry Crane in the October 2025 issue of Tape Op, and it's a finalist for a Tech Award. So if you want to level up your production game, and if you want to produce great music that does all that it should, you want to get this book. Mixerman.